having your dream life, your desires met, your dharma, the love that you really crave, really is on the other side of you becoming a clear communicator. So why is speaking so important? So our throat chakra, if you look at the chakra system, our throat is our ability to express our inner world to the outer world. So you have your own inner reality. Your inner reality is your emotions, it's your intuition, it's your perception, it's what you see the world as. And our life, our quality of life becomes greater when we're able to match our inner world with our outer world. However, most people have a hard time communicating what that inner world is. They have a hard time speaking their truth. They have a hard time expressing their emotions. They have a hard time putting their thoughts into words that could be understood by another person. So they have this inner reality that no one around them is aware of. And what happens is then you start to feel a separation, that I'm not being authentic to me. I don't have the relationships that I want. I don't have the career that I want. I don't have the friends that I want. I'm not being met. And you become resentful. Maybe you even gain shame around not feeling authentic in your life. And then that begins to putrefy. It adds and adds, and you get more and more in that shame and that guilt and that sadness and that feeling unmet bucket. And then it becomes your life. And then you become more distant and more avoidant and more unable to express your truth, when really what you needed was to share it. That's why they say the truth will set you free. Hi, it's Sahara Rose, and welcome back to the Highest Self podcast, a place where we discuss what makes you your soul's highest evolvement. I'm really excited for this episode because it has been one of my most requested, and it's how can I truly speak with soul? So for those of you who are new to this podcast, I have been hosting it for the past almost 7 years now, and it has been my greatest life's work. I have had conversations with so many inspirational people, from Sadhguru to Deepak Chopra to Marianne Williamson, Don Miguel Ruiz. But really what has driven this podcast forward and has made it become the number one in the spirituality category on iTunes with over 35 million downloads are the solo casts. And my ability to be able to just show up in front of a camera and share with you. And a lot of you have asked me, how are you able to do that? How are you able to just essentially channel in front of a camera and speak from your heart with such clarity and precision while also feeling grounded and relatable and not like it's like scripted, because it's not. I'm actually just talking to you. And I have learned so much about speaking through having this podcast and through listening to my own conversations with people and also studying the art of speaking. And that's why I'm really excited to have put together my very first course sharing all of this wisdom with you, called Speak with Soul. So this is a 21-day journey that takes you from feeling maybe unconfident in your speaking to fully showing up, shining your light. And I actually guide you step by step to have the confidence enough to record your own podcast intro. So whether you are interested in speaking for your career, such as speaking on stages one day, or you're a coach or healer and you feel like you would gain more clients from speaking and being able to show up more online, or you just want to speak to people in your life in a more clear way, having more deep, meaningful conversations with friends, with lovers, with partners, and just feeling more heard, the Speak with Soul course is for you. So it is available right now. We have a special discount price, so you can head over to speakwithsoulcourse.com to learn more about it. I'm super excited to be sharing it with you guys because this course, the results I have seen are tremendous. I have had students who have always felt like they've had this lifelong block in their throat chakra go on Instagram Live and actually start Instagram Live series where they're interviewing people because they feel so empowered. So if you're interested and curious, it's a really low ticket, affordable course. So it's really for anyone, whether you have some speaking experience, no speaking experience, or maybe you even have a podcast, you want to take it up to the next level. It really offers everything that I know about speaking to get you started and to get your voice and your message heard out in the world, because it is so deeply needed at this time. So again, head over to speakwithsoulcourse.com, and I'm super excited to see you there. This show is brought to you by BetterHelp. One thing I'm learning so much from being single for the first time after 7.5 years is the importance of doing the inner work, not only for yourself, but for your future partner. Because the thing is, when we're in a relationship, it often brings up our suppressed shadows and traumas and the things that we haven't wanted to look at before. And the more that we can dive into them, the more beautiful and sultry and romantic and heart-opened our relationships can be. So do it for your partner, if not for you, but you're worthy of it as well. So I love working with BetterHelp because they allow you to get therapy for a really affordable cost. You're able to book your therapist online, match with different therapists, try them out. You can even text with them between sessions, which is pretty cool. So it's really convenient, flexible, affordable, and just something that everyone can access, which I believe the world needs. So if you're interested in trying it out and getting 10% off your first month, head over to betterhelp.com/Sahara. Again, that's betterhelp, HELP.com/Sahara. And you can find that in the show notes. So on the topic of speaking, that's what we're going to be jamming about on today's episode. So I'm going to be taking you through some of the tips and tools that I have learned through speaking that I dive more into in the Speak with Soul course, so you can start to really understand the importance of speaking and why it is the missing link to having your dream life, your desires met, your dharma, the love that you really crave, really is on the other side of you becoming a clear communicator. So why is speaking so important? So our throat chakra, if you look at the chakra system, our throat is our ability to express our inner world to the outer world. So you have your own inner reality. Your inner reality is your emotions, it's your intuition, it's your perception, it's what you see the world as. And our life, our quality of life, becomes greater when we're able to match our inner world with our outer world. However, most people have a hard time communicating what that inner world is. They have a hard time speaking their truth. They have a hard time expressing their emotions. They have a hard time putting their thoughts into words that could be understood by another person. So they have this inner reality that no one around them is aware of. And what happens is then you start to feel a separation, that I'm not being authentic to me. I don't have the relationships that I want. I don't have the career that I want. I don't have the friends that I want. I'm not being met. And you become resentful. Maybe you even gain shame around not feeling authentic in your life. And then that begins to putrefy. It adds and adds, and you get more and more in that shame and that guilt and that sadness and that feeling unmet bucket. And then it becomes your life. And then you become more distant and more avoidant and more unable to express your truth, when really what you needed was to share it. That's why they say the truth will set you free. It truly does. Because when you're able to share your truth, you're able to let your inner reality be expressed and experienced through others. And that's the first step into taking action and now making that your life's work. So if you are wanting to move, if you're wanting a different job, if you're wanting to be an entrepreneur, if you're wanting deep relationships, you're wanting deep friendships, all of that can only happen as a result of communication. Because without it, no one else will know. You won't be able to have those conversations. You won't be able to share your gifts, your lessons, your experiences. So all of the things that you really desire are on the other side of you opening up your throat chakra. And this is why this is the most important work that you can do. So now that you know how important it is to communicate and speak your truth, let's talk about the importance of the voice. So your voice is your calling card. It's literally the expression of your soul. If you look at sound, sound is consistent of vibrational patterns that reflect in our eardrums. So we're actually sending waves back and forth with people. So if you've ever worked with a sound bowl, you can actually see that vibration happening. If you put sand inside, you can see, and oftentimes we'll actually create sacred geometry. And there's so much wisdom when it comes to sound. And that's why music is so healing, and certain hertz of music can be healing or even damaging. So there's so much in this field, but sometimes we only think of sound as music or sound bowls, but your voice is also a sound healing. Every person you have a conversation with, you are getting so much information about them through their voice. Through listening to my voice right now, you are getting a lot of insight and information about me. Maybe you can feel how warm or how cold I am. Maybe you can feel how grounded I am in my body. Maybe you can feel my mood, if I'm joyful, if I'm sad, if I'm confused, if I'm lost. Maybe you can feel even what chakras I'm connected with. Maybe you can make some assumptions about what I'm like as a friend or what nationality I even am, where I come from in the world. So there's so much that we're getting from hearing someone's voice. And that's why when you're in communication with someone, most of the conversation is nonverbal. And nonverbal consists also of the quality of the voice. Because when I say verbal, I'm talking about the physical words that we're using, what I'm saying. But much of what you're receiving from what I'm saying is how I'm saying it. So I could be having this exact same conversation like this and be talking like this the whole time and be giving you the exact same information, but you're going to be receiving it in a totally different way. Or I could be having more of this kind of tone when I talk, and I think you would maybe not listen to the podcast anymore. Or I could be like this, and I could explain myself how the voice is the calling card and how you must speak with soul if you want to be heard. Or I can talk a little bit more like this, which is kind of how my grandma talks because she is Persian, and it's going to sound a little different, okay? So you can see, obviously, I'm even doing some accents. I'm making fun of myself, but the way that we speak says so much about us. I could deliver the exact same conversation in many different ways, and all of the ways are going to be received differently. And this is why our voice is so important. Because what we often see happen on social media is we see people, they make these reels and they're pointing at the things like, do you want a successful coaching business? Believe in yourself. And you just hear Taylor Swift in the background. You don't hear the person's voice. You don't know anything about them. And then you don't trust them because we gain trust through others through hearing their voice. This is why when you listen to someone's music a lot or you listen to someone's podcast a lot, you feel like you know them because their voice is like in your ears and it's pretty personal. Like every time I meet you guys are like, I feel like I know you. I'm like, I feel like I know you too. Let's talk it out. Because you do, because you're hearing my voice consistently and you're hearing how it grows and changes. Like even after moving through this divorce, my voice has like deepened to another level because I've deepened to another level. So you're even feeling these shifts in a person's growth journey through listening to their voice. So this is why it's imperative for you to share your voice because you're never going to get the clients and customers that you want if you don't share your voice. No one is hiring their coach because the reel was fabulous. I mean, the reel can be fabulous, but we also need to hear your voice. We need to hear what you sound like, not just reading it, because anyone can sound great through writing something down. But to actually hear it be received through someone's voice, which means that it can't be planned, it can't be scripted, it can't be copy pasted from someone else, but they have to be embodying it, is going to allow you to decide, do I trust this person? Do I want to work with this person? Do I feel a connection to this person? And there's no right or wrong way. Some people's voices will connect with other people in the ways that others won't, just like music. I might love Afrobeats music and you might not. You might love Marilyn Manson. I might not. Doesn't mean one of them has a better voice than the next, though I might say differently, but it just means we have different tastes. So don't feel shame around your voice. And I'll talk about some stories that we often have about our voices. But the most important thing is your voice is a calling card of who you are today. And if you want to attract the clients that you want to work with, if you want to be seen and heard, you need to be sharing your voice, especially on social media. Because social media really is our business card of today's world. And your voice is the business card of your inner world, right? Because your voice is that business card that you're handing people that it's like, here I am expressed into reality. And then social media is like, here I am expressed in this two-dimensional technological plane. For example, even if I go to a hotel, I go on social media and I look up that hotel's pictures. They have a website, they have a gallery on the website, they have TripAdvisor, all the things, but I want to go on their social media because I want to know what they're putting out about themselves. And the same thing happens when you're hiring a coach, a healer, a guide, any form of thing. You want to go on their social media because you want to know what are they putting out about themselves? What's their essence? What's their vibe? What's their energy? And if you don't see or hear their voice on there, you're not going to really build a connection with them. You might read things and things might be good, but are you going to trust them enough to book that discovery call? Probably not. So the missing link in your business of why maybe you haven't been able to get the clients that you want, the traction that you want, the following that you want, is likely because you're just not sharing your voice enough. So this is why sharing your voice is imperative if you want to do any kind of thought leader work, whether it's coaching, writing a book, writing a podcast, speaking on stages. We better be hearing your voice day in and day out, because that is how we build a connection with you. And the more you share your voice, the more you practice, the more you listen to your voice, and the more your voice gets defined. So now let's get a little bit specific about the voice. And I really dive into this in the Speak with Soul course. Like I talk about the texture of the voice, and the quality and the sound and the intonation. I really geek out about this stuff. But when we're hearing someone's voice, we're essentially hearing where they're at in their embodiment. And for us to have a more grounded, warm, inviting voice, we must go through our own embodiment. So there are certain practices that we can do to drop further into our root, further into our sacral. So we're speaking less from the head and more from the body. So if you've ever heard someone that has a more nasally voice like this, I'm sure you can imagine what chakra it's related to. It's totally up here in the head. It's like all up in the third eye. Like it's so interesting and so cool. That's why, for example, being in Bali or even in LA, oftentimes it's like the people who feel very disembodied of like, I'm a channel, the Pleiadian light worker, blah, 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 blah. The voice gets really high because that's just where their energy is. But when you even hear me do this, it's like you start to get a little bit uncomfortable because you get on the edge of your seat, because we mimic other people's voices. So when someone feels really disembodied or they're heady and they're going like this and they're talking a million miles an hour and we don't know where it's going to go, it's like you will start to feel that way whether you're conscious of it or not. Now when we drop in and we really speak from an embodied state, and we let our words be deliberate, relaxed, spacious, we create that experience for the person that we are speaking with. Not being afraid of the sacred pause. Because it's in those sacred pauses that the words ground in, for them to be fully received and experienced. Not just listened to, but experienced. And often, when we don't feel confident in our speaking, we start speaking a lot faster. We start filling in all of the sounds. We start going a million miles an hour, and our voice goes up back here like a helium balloon. When really, wouldn't we have so much more spaciousness and groundedness and ability to be deliberate with our words if we let ourselves drop in and move a little slower? And notice now when I'm speaking from this space, you settle in a little more. You hold on to my words a little tighter, because there aren't a million of them coming at you per hour. And you really start to listen. So the very thing that we are desiring when we are nervous and we start to speak fast, we actually push it away. Because when we're going so fast, that person can't keep up with us and feels that nervous energy, and we lose the connection. And oftentimes we're so focused on the words that we forget the embodied experience that we are in, that we are putting that person in. So instead, tuning into the body's wisdom, speaking from a place of groundedness, of rootedness, and then being the transmission of that energy that you desire to express. Maybe it's a really bold and empowered energy. Or maybe it's a really peaceful and compassionate energy. Or maybe it's a really sensual energy, inviting. Or maybe it's just a deep-rooted anchor. And as you play with your voice, you can notice just from your tone, your energy that you sit in, the words will naturally come across, expressing that exact emotion and vibration without you even consciously needing to think about it. And that's what creates an interesting speaker, someone who is dynamic, who can take us up here and then bring this down there. Because then we're along on the journey. There's nothing more boring than a monotone speaker, and they're just like this, and You're getting really bored because every single word sounds the same and it's pretty much no emotion and nothing really going on here. But instead, when you listen to someone who's taking you on a journey through their words and you never know what's going to happen next, you're on the edge of your seat. You're there with them. And you can feel yourself being guided on this journey that you never know what's going to unfold. And you're inspired to see the world in a higher place. You're inspired to take action, to live a different life, to see a different point of view, to take on a different perspective because that person took you in on that journey. And this is the power of the voice. This is why speaking with soul is the most important work that we can do, because we create a calibration shift for others. We help people see the higher truth that is inside of themselves. We help share stories that need to be heard. We help alchemize the painful experiences into our lives so we can help those that are going through those right now walk through them with more ease and grace. It is the highest service. And if you know you are here to speak with soul, that it is part of your dharma, your soul's purpose, oftentimes the chakra that we have the most blockages in is the one that we have our greatest power in. So the fact that you even decided to listen to this episode, the fact that you might have some type of feeling like, I feel like I'm meant to speak, but it's my biggest fear, shows you that's exactly where your work is. Because you wouldn't have the fear if there wasn't the freedom. The reason why you have that fear is because you know how powerful you are on the other side. It's because you know when you unlock this channel, you are unstoppable. And that's why you're scared. Because your ego is grasping for comfort, because it knows when you unlock your throat, there is so much awaiting you on this other side, so much change and up-leveling and growth that your ego is like, oh my God, I can't even take it, so let's just suffocate. And in the course, we go through the stories that you might have received from childhood. I have an annoying voice. I don't want to be heard. No one wants to listen to me, and we heal them. So they no longer carry forth in our lives, silencing and suffocating us and holding us back from being the thought leaders that we are here to be in this paradigm shift. So if you are ready to speak with soul, I invite you to join me in my Speak with Soul program. And even more than that, even if you don't join the program, I invite you to just start speaking. Go on Instagram Live, record a video of yourself, go to your local library. Hey, give a talk to your cousins. Just start sharing, because you have such wisdom in your heart that can help so many people. And it's not going to when it's all locked in the attic of your mind. So please, please, please start sharing. The world needs more stories. The world needs more important, heartfelt messages that inspire and take us to a greater place. The world needs your alchemy. So please start sharing it. So if you're curious to learn more with me in the Speak with Soul program, you can find it available at speakwithsoulcourse.com. That link is also available in the show notes. We have a special discount since it just launched right now. It's a 21-day course every day, about 10 to 20 minutes a day. So it's really easy. You can do it with your busy schedule. I give you practices every single day. You can do it from your phone, your computer. It's something that you will literally take action on and find yourself as a stronger speaker than you ever have in your entire life. Because let's be real, have you ever actually focused on your speaking before? And it's crazy because it's the most important thing in our lives. Like, we are speaking constantly to friends, to colleagues, to customers, to clients, but besides maybe like a public speaking course in high school, have we ever actually worked on it? No. And then we wonder why we don't feel confident, because we've never actually looked at it. We've never actually dissected, how do I tell a story? What is the story arc? What kind of tone and texture does my voice give out? What kind of speakers inspire me? How can I connect with my audience more? How can I use the sacred pause? These are all things they teach you in the course. And in 21 days, you will have looked more into your speaking than you probably ever have into your entire life. And just the level of conversation and connection and authenticity you're going to have is exponentially going to increase because you're able to communicate. You're going to have those connections with people. You're going to have those opportunities that you've been waiting for because you're finally able to express what is already in your heart. And as you express it, you open yourself up to receive more. It has been my life's greatest blessing and greatest gift, and the thing that I feel the most passionate about sharing with others. So I invite you to join me in the Speak with Soul course. I'm so excited to see the magic that it unfolds within you. And thank you again so much for tuning into today's episode. If you love this episode, please leave a review for it on the iTunes store, and I will send you my free womb meditation as a gift. You can head over to Apple Podcasts, leave a review for the podcast, take a screenshot, and then send it over to me at sahara@iamsahararose.com. And you can find that email in the show notes as well as the speakwithsoulcourse.com link. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll see you in the next one.